with rattlesnakes. It happened to my sister.
What?
But I also
What
mean,
show?
real life.
What the hell show was your sister on? Was she on some kind of like snuff film show?
It was WB. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
So much to me. I feel like you poured a lot into this movie, but then you turned around and you were just as supportive of Ryan. Yeah. What is it like to...
And my hair care company, Blake Brown, my goodness gracious. It's been crazy.
Like a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And, you know, and thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Hi, besties. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Leslie Sloan, who is the publicist of Blake Lively, just filed a motion for attorney's fees. I think it's interesting that she filed this because she is filing this on the same day that an amended complaint is about to be filed. And I'm pretty flabbergasted that she would file what she's filing, given the veracity of what she has done. And even though a court dismissed the claims against her and said they weren't going to award attorney's fees, she is again trying to like refight her case to vindicate herself so the court will award her fees. And her new motion for attorney's fees is going to open up the door for Wayfair to provide evidence and refute what she's saying. It's like a double-edged sword here. And I think she's doing this on the same day. I mean, she probably had to file it, but it feels like this is being put out to get ahead of a narrative. Because right now, she's going to blame Sarah Nathan for telling her about what happened to Blake on the set, which we all know Blake would have told Leslie, right? And Leslie is known to lie for clients. She even, with a straight face in this motion, lied that Harvey Weinstein didn't fund her PR company. The Hollywood Reporter put out a press release for them when she started her new company, Vision PR, stating that he was backing her new PR firm. Harvey was. There are articles from 2016 from legitimate news sources that were not planted by Wayfair that have Leslie speaking as Harvey Weinstein's publicist. She is lying about not working with him. It's astounding that someone can put this into a court filing with a straight face. Here's what she says. The Wayfair claims against the Sloan parties were an ill-advised publicity stunt that had no basis in law or fact. And after suffering months of financially crippling and emotionally devastating litigation, they have now been fully vindicated. I don't know that they were fully vindicated. I just think that they had litigation privilege, right? The court dismissed the claims against them with prejudice and held on no uncertain terms that Sloan did not commit a tort. In addition to the gaping legal deficiencies in the Wayfair parties' pleadings, discovery had confirmed that their factual allegations against Sloan were complete fabrications. Okay. After the Wayfair parties for months wrongfully refused in discovery to identify their sources or produce anything to support their allegations, discovery from third parties proved that their main allegations against Ms. Sloan, which the Wayfair parties repeated and sensationalized throughout their court filings, was utterly false. She's going to reference a Daily Mail reporter named James, who recently just substituted his attorneys. So he was previously represented by a law firm that is the in-house counsel for Daily Mail. And he has now hired Mark Garagos' law firm. And they are substituted in for his subpoenas related to Leslie and to Wayfair because he's listed as a witness. And she is claiming that this declaration proves her innocence. Key allegation that Miss Sloan told them that Blake was sexually assaulted, that Miss Sloan never told Miss Bazooka that Miss Lively was sexually harassed or sexually assaulted by Justin Baldoni or anyone else. He also confirmed that the Wayfair parties did not conduct even a cursory investigation into their claims before recklessly dragging Miss Sloan into this litigation and the surrounding media firestorm that they fueled. By the Wayfair party's own admissions, any claims that the Lively was essayed in the way their complaints implied is an unsubstantiated accusation that not even Lively had gone so far to claim. It is simply unbelievable that Wayfair parties or any counsel that drafted that allegation or signed the pleading believed in good faith that she had made that accusation. So, really, the premise is that she's trying to prove that they filed a frivolous lawsuit. And in the judge's order, I didn't really see them claim that it was frivolous, just that some of these were barred by litigation privilege, really. Given the claims were utterly baseless, it is clear they were filed for an ulterior purpose to distract from their own misconduct and to silence Miss Sloan's communications with the press, to silence her communications. This is kind of interesting. Concerning Miss Lively's credible claims of sexual harassment and retaliation by subjecting her to costly litigation and attempting to ruin her reputation through false and defamatory accusations masked as legitimate court filings. So she's wanting to use the anti-SLAPP, which is not allowed in federal court. And I just don't know that she's going to be able to get anti-SLAPP attorney's fees in federal court. The Second Circuit already held that the anti-SLAPP provision does not apply in New York federal court. And she said that if she can't get that, she would just want attorney's fees in pursuit of the court's inherent powers. He did not dismiss her case based on anti-SLAPP. He did not dismiss her case based on anything related to the SLAPP. And so I don't think she's going to get attorney's fees. But what I thought is interesting is that she's on the one hand saying that she never told anyone that Justin harassed or sexually harassed anyone. But then she's saying that Wayfair did this to silence her from telling the press that Justin did this to people. Does that make sense to you? It's a little bit confusing. It goes on to say that the Wayfair parties knew or at a minimum should have known that S-Aid was James' characterization of details included in her administrative complaint, not any words Miss Sloan ever uttered. Indeed, the screenshots embedded as images in his August 8th conversation with Miss Sloan, which includes no allegations by Miss Sloan of S.A., and Vizuka then expressly states that Miss Sloan never mentioned any allegations of S.A. Further, the Wayfair party's complaint in their own prior action against the New York Times included a screenshot of another text claim where he expressly told Melissa Nathan and Brian Friedman that he had many conversations with Miss Sloan about Blake and never once did she say anything about SA. As discussed further below during that litigation, Vizluka has yet again confirmed that Miss Sloan has never accused Baldoni of SA. Even taken as true, the Wayfair party's claims are fundamentally defective and they failed to plead the essential elements of any claims asserted. She claims the pleading was littered with irrelevant and unfounded allegations meant solely to inflame the public and severely harm her business. For example, they recklessly alleged that she was once backed by Harvey Weinstein. She was once backed by Harvey Weinstein. It's in an article from The Hollywood Reporter, which was at best deliberately misleading. The Sloan's party had never represented Weinstein, and the stories that the Wayfair parties have apparently planted, claiming that she worked with Weinstein to silence victims, are utterly baseless. She worked with Harvey Weinstein and she was his publicist. I don't know why she can't just admit that. She can't go back in time and act like this wasn't put out by The Hollywood Reporter. And she's on record speaking for one of Weinstein's friends who was sued for basically silencing victims and using their PR to silence them. And then she basically said that that whole lawsuit was frivolous and that nothing had been done like that. I mean, that's with TMZ. So, she can try to walk back her involvement with Weinstein, but you can't scrub that from the internet. It's there. You can find it. She alleges that Friedman had no basis for the highly damaging and false accusations she spread that she planted false stories about Justin Baldoni. But Leslie's history precedes herself. So, if she is the one planting stories, she did this to Paris Hilton when Lindsay was fighting with her. She has done this to other of her clients that have fired her. She would leak stories about Britney Spears all the time. So, I don't know. She's really just trying to tell tell the court that they had no claims and no basis to sue her. Now, was the way that the amended complaint constructed, was it done in a way where it was easy to understand and comprehend? And did they weave so many narratives into it? Yes. And did they not focus on like Leslie Sloan's defamation and what she did, right? No. It was a confusing amended complaint that was all over the place and woven a ton of things that happened, but a lot of things were happening at the exact same time. So it probably was a hard story for them to tell. They're claiming that it has endured substantial attorney's fees and that there was going to be an amended pleading, but that amended pleading never came and that additional information was never revealed because it does not exist. So she claims that Wayfair doesn't have any proof of anything that she's done. And then she talks about how she moved to stay discovery. And then as discovery progressed, she had these conversations with Wayfair and they were going back and forth. And, ultimately, the judge denied the stay of discovery. And ultimately, the production due date for discovery isn't until a week, 8 days from 8 days from now. So theoretically, she wouldn't have had everything that she needed. The record confirms that the Wayfair party's claims are baseless because they were flat out lies, she says. They only ever attempted to connect her to Sloan, to 2 reporters, and she did not make any defamatory statements to either of them. Specifically, in their responses, they identified only 2 journalists with whom Miss Sloan allegedly communicated with, Sarah Nathan and the Daily Mail. And she says, as to Sarah Nathan, who is Melissa Nathan's sister, the communications confirm that Sarah told Miss Sloan about the sexual harassment allegations, not the other way around. On August 8th, Sarah Nathan texted Miss Sloan saying she heard about 3 things that Baldoni did on set that were, in her words, a little bit creepy. Then on August 11th, 2024, she forwarded Miss Sloan an anonymous tip that Page 6 had received, which said, among other things, that Baldoni made Miss Lively uncomfortable on set. And then the first time she discussed the sexual harassment allegations with a journalist was when Miss Sarah Nathan told Miss Sloan about what she had heard, even though Sarah Nathan informed Miss Sloan of the underlying conduct, not the other way around. Sarah Nathan's sister, Melissa Nathan, has twisted those conversations to brazenly accuse Miss Sloan of planting stories about Baldoni, all while knowing the exact opposite occurred. Then she talks about James's declaration where she says Miss Sloan never told him that she was sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. She says that he testified. He didn't testify. He didn't. He signed a declaration. They did not bother to investigate or confirm what he meant by the use of the phrase. And he confirmed that she never accused Baldoni of SA. All right. So she's trying to pin this on them for spreading this story to them, and that she's trying to claim that she told reporters stuff about Baldoni because it was a matter of public interest. So this is the part where it's confusing because on the one hand, she's saying she didn't do these things, but then on the other hand, she's saying, well, even if I did, it was a matter of public interest. I don't know what the judge is going to rule on this, and I frankly don't know how it will play out. When the case was dismissed, he said that he did not use anti-SLAPP, he did not use 47.1, and he was not going to award attorney's fees. So she's really just trying to paint their claims against her as completely baseless and frivolous, and that Wayfair should have known better. And it's not untrue that Brian Friedman 100% mischaracterized what James told him and claimed that a Daily Mail reporter had told Melissa that Leslie was telling people that he was, Baldoni was sexually harassing people. So the evidence they have from James doesn't show that, right? All the text messages were placed in the New York Times one, and then the amended complaint had some of them, but not all of them. And he flat out says that Leslie never told him that. So James wasn't lying when he told that to Brian, but Brian, for some reason, put that in the amended complaint. But I don't know that it was one paragraph of many, and the crux of Leslie's behavior was all in relation to the New York Times article, which she doesn't address. And she tries to claim that this somehow proves that their only claims against her had to do with Daily Mail and Page 6. but the overwhelming amended complaint had to do with the New York Times. So it's like she's kind of missing the point. And the reason why the New York Times was dismissed was due to the shielding of, reporters' privilege. And then she got litigation privilege because they reported on the documents that were filed with the CRD. That's really why it was dismissed. So it didn't matter if what she put in the CRD was truthful or not. It didn't matter if they didn't follow up. They were reporting according to the judge. We all disagree about this, right, you guys? We know we disagree. But they're trying to claim that, again, Leslie's trying to frame it like this whole thing has to do with Daily Mail, which isn't true. Now, I don't believe the judge will award attorney's fees under anti-SLAPP. I don't know if he's going to determine that their claims were frivolous because he did give them a right to a leave to amend. And so, in one part, I feel like she's just doing this to share her narrative because she did work with Harvey Weinstein. He did fund her PR, and she did put out statements when Harvey and his friend were sued for using PR and to put out negative stories about his victims. That was a lawsuit. And she put out a statement for his friend who is an owner of, I don't remember, some team in New York. I don't remember what his friend's name was. But that guy, she was his publicist. And then later she was a publicist speaking on behalf of Harvey. She doesn't like that she has and was connected to Harvey Weinstein. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like that to be known. She doesn't like it to be known that she was fired from her previous PR company, that many of her former clients dropped her. She doesn't like it to be known that she has planted stories against other people, like friends of Blake's, for whatever reason, to protect Blake. She has planted stories against nemesises of Lindsay Lohan to protect Lindsay. She planted stories about Britney Spears that were negative of Britney. I mean, her reputation is her reputation. And in my opinion, she doesn't like what was revealed. And if she wants to speak about what Baldoni has done, she should just use her full chest and not be an insider and just say, a rep for Blake Lively says this, instead of being an insider in all of these articles. But it's a long shot, in my opinion, that she'll get these. And I think this is just a way for her to try to get ahead of whatever's coming next. That's my opinion. And I don't know if the judge will agree that the lawsuit was baseless. But this is her way to get the spin out of her opinion that it was all baseless and it was all used to deflect. Do you actually agree with that? Do you believe that they did all of these things to deflect? Or do you actually believe, even though Wayfair's case was dismissed, do you believe that that's what happened to them, what they claimed? That what Blake and Leslie did is what they claimed and that they just got off on a technicality? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.